Hello, in this video we will talk about how employment agencies or recruiting firms work. This is Hassan Mir from Zero2ProTraining.com. So an employment agency acts as a connection between job seekers and employers. Job seekers are looking for a job and employers are looking for candidates. So the agency acts as a bridge between the two groups. It all starts when a job seeker submits his resume to the agency. The job seeker might have responded to an advertisement from the agency, or he might have just directly submitted his resume. When the resume is submitted, the relationship is established. So what is the relationship between the agency and the job seeker? The agency acts as an advocate or representative of the job seekers. Usually there is no fees charged to the job seekers. It's a free service to the job seekers, but agencies are making money and they're charging fees to the employers, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So if you come across an agency that is charging you money, then you need to be very careful. So what is the relationship between the agency and the employer? Employers are the clients for the agency, so agency is serving its clients by finding the right candidates. And as I mentioned earlier, a fee is charged to the employers when right candidate is found. And this is how agencies make their money. So there are two popular models for the agencies to get paid. One is called contingency fee basis and another one is retained searches. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. In the first model, an agency will get paid when a position is filled successfully. However, keep in mind multiple agencies may compete with each other. So if I'm an employer and I have a position open, I can invite 3 agencies to find me a candidate, and they will compete, and whoever will find me a right candidate, I will pay that agency. In the second model, known as retained searches, one agency will be working to find the right candidate for the employer, and there will not be any competition, and this agency can take longer, and this agency will get paid no matter how long it takes. So there are pros and cons for each model for the client, and that is not the scope of the discussion here. I just wanted you to know about the two models. Also note that in the second model, even client cannot hire somebody directly. Even if they found somebody directly, they will have to request that person to go through the preferred agency. As a job seeker, you can apply to more than one agencies. However, you have to be careful. If more than one agency contacts you for the same opening, you have to be honest and you have to let the other agencies know that you have already applied, and I'm going to talk about that more in a bit. The reason you can apply to more than one agency is that not every agency might be having the same contracts with them. So let's say agency 1 is working for clients A, B, and C. Agency 2 might be working for clients B, C, and D. So you want to maximize your chances of getting hired in the right company. Having said that, never apply to the same position through more than one agency. You will end up being rejected by the client without even being considered for the interview process. Okay, so never create a conflict. So how would you know if more than one agencies are not submitting you for the same position at the same client? They need your permission before they can submit your resume. If they're not taking your permission, they don't know how to work. So you should not give permission to more than one agency to submit your resume to the same client. You will end up being rejected. And this will happen because client does not want to go into the complication of lawsuits and all that, so you will be out. So this is the point I just mentioned in the earlier slide, that employment agency submits your resume to the employer and they can't do that without your permission. And this is what you want to avoid. You don't want two agencies to submit your resume to the same employer for the same position. You can submit your resume to the same employer for different positions, however that's okay, but even that should be avoided to avoid complications. Okay, so we understand that an agency is acting as an advocate towards the job seekers. So what does that mean? An agency is providing guidance to the job seekers. And what kind of guidance? They're gonna guide you in your resume. They might ask you to modify your resume. They might ask you to bring up the relevant parts on your resume that are more relevant to the position. That doesn't mean you have to lie, you just have to bring up the relevant parts. And employment agencies know the inside scoop of what's happening at the client's place, so they're gonna give you all the information, because it's in their interest as well that you get hired. But also understand that it's not in their interest that you are a mismatch and you still get hired, because then they will end up losing their contract with the client, and they will never want that to happen. They will give you some interview tips. They do the placement every day, and they know the interview tips and tricks. So you will get some guidance on that front. And another advantage is that, another service actually they will provide you is that once you submit your resume and in case you don't end up getting hired, they have positions with them that are not actually listed to public, and they can later on help you place in those unlisted positions. And in rare cases, agencies do assist in negotiation of salaries, but usually the salary is negotiated directly with the client. By client, I mean the employer. Employer is a client for the agency, not for the job seekers in the permanent position. So salaries are negotiated directly by the job seekers with the employers. In rare cases, agencies will act as a bridge. Keep in mind that agencies will be charging the employer a percentage of your yearly salary, so they will get paid one time. Usually the rate in North America is 20 to 30% of your yearly salary, so it's in their interest as well that you get a better salary. So for the permanent positions, they get paid one time, and for contract positions they charge a markup of about 20% of your hourly rate to the client. So they keep on getting paid as long as you're working with the client. So that is again not the main topic of this session, so I'm gonna move on. So we understand agency provides guidance service to the job seekers, but keep in mind that all the loyalties of the agency is with the client, with the employer. Employer is their client, and they have a permanent relationship with the employer, and they don't want to jeopardize that. So they are providing services to the employer, and in exchange of that services they are getting paid. So mainly they are providing screening services, and as a process of screening, they will interview candidates, they will do reference checks, and the bottom line is that they will only submit those candidates to the employer that are suitable for the job. And sometimes employers request agencies to only submit those candidates with whom they have personally met. So whenever you are called in for an interview with the agency, do give importance to that interview as well.